Boston lies at the epicenter of the American creation legend. It was from Boston that a detachment of British soldiers marched out in April of 1775 to confiscate and destroy military stores rebels had gathered in Concord. It was in the town of Lexington they encountered a band of rebellious colonials at sunrise. Shots were fired, the militia ran off, and the British continued on their mission. There was another clash with militants near Concord, and the British soon found themselves outnumbered and in danger of being cut off. They began a long and brutal retreat, getting sniped at from riflemen and muskets, hiding behind walls and trees. The rebels, who called themselves patriots, besieged the British inside of Boston for 2 months. They wanted to have a bargaining chip to negotiate a fairer taxation deal with the British government. By June, however, supplies were running low inside of Boston, so the British decided to occupy the high ground overlooking Boston Harbor, across the water in Charlestown, on what we know as Bunker Hill, so they would be able to land more supplies safely. There were many spies on both sides, and the rebels learned of the British plan. They hastily sent a body of armed men to the area and fortified it against the imminent British advance. They actually fortified an adjacent hill called Breed's Hill, but Bunker Hill is what sticks in the mind. What followed was what turned out to be the bloodiest battle of the American Revolution. Hundreds of men on both sides were killed. Almost immediately after landing in Charlestown, the British came under fire from snipers on the high ground and were exposed to the few cannons the Americans had. The British set fire to the town so the smoke would shield them from the rebel guns. They then began their first advance up the hill. The British advanced up this hill 3 times. The first 2 times they were punched back by the well-entrenched Americans. Ultimately, the rebels ran out of ammunition, and the well-trained British fixed bayonets and stormed their fortifications and put them to flight, killing many in the process. So although the British won the Battle of Bunker Hill, it cost them dearly, and the time of the United States of America was upon them. We have followed the Red Brick Freedom Trail through Boston, seeing the historic and sacred sites of the birth of the nation, and the trail leads inexorably directly to the National Park of Bunker Hill. There's a museum and gift shop, and the centerpiece is the Tower Monument. The tower was built between 1835 and 1845 and was the first monument constructed in the United States. Men who fought in the battle were there for the dedication. It is 294 steps and takes about 5 minutes to climb. I watched the young lady before me sprint up the stairs with envy as I trudged up. I feel that climbing the tower is a way to pay respect to the soldiers and rebels who died on this hill. It is a pilgrimage to honor the country I am visiting and the country my ancestors fled as refugees at its founding, and still the greatest country in the world in my opinion, despite recent issues. I would recommend going early or late in the season. I imagine it would be hot and claustrophobic and loud and jostling at the height of tourist season. If one makes it to the top, the reward is a spectacular view of Boston from all sides. Sorry?
Sorry.
Am I getting close?
Yep.